Hey guys, welcome back to my channel Rewind That. It's your girl Miss K. If this is your first time coming across my channel, welcome. Please be sure to subscribe if you like the vibe and hit that notification bell so you know when I upload more videos like this one. Today guys, we are going over House of the Dragon Season 1 Episodes 2 and 3 because when I was on vacation, I wasn't able to do any of them. So yes, they are late, but they are here. Okay guys, first I want to start off with talking about the fact that I am so happy that they decided to keep the theme song from Game of Thrones. So it's awesome to just hear that sound again because it's one of my favorite theme songs. I love it so much. Even though it's very long, I sit through it and I don't care. Okay, another thing is you see just all this blood going through, and I'm not even sure where the blood is flowing through, right? It looks like the Red Keep, it looks like this, it looks like that. I don't even know. Like when it comes to the Game of Thrones opening credits and everything, you can see everywhere they're going to be, right? Whether it's King's Landing, Pentos, the Wall, somewhere in the north. That's the thing that I love about that. But with this one, I don't really understand what the heck is going on, but I do see the blood flowing through, okay? And for me, that signifies, all right, it's going down, a lot of bloodshed, and the lines are going to be destroyed. All right, so Season 1, Episode 2, let's get into it. The Rogue Prince. The episode starts off with them showing us that the crab feeder continues to wreak havoc, and he's not letting up, guys. Then we get to a small council meeting where we find out that a member of the King's Guard has died. So now he must be replaced so they can keep the order of things, right? Which is to have 7 members. So we'll have to get to that a little later. So now in comes Lord Corlys, and he's pretty pissed off, guys, because he's been asking the king to help him handle the situation with the crab feeder. But his concerns are not being taken seriously. More than anything, Lord Corlys is upset that some of his ships and men have been lost due to these shenanigans, and he wants to know what the king intends to do about it. But of course, Viserys hardly has anything to say because, let's face it, Otto is really the king, okay? So Otto tells Lord Corlys that he will be compensated for his losses, like his ships, and compensation will also go to the men's families as well, right? But Corlys doesn't want compensation. He wants to seize the stepstones and burn out the crab feeder. But Viserys says he doesn't want to start a war with the free cities, and the rest of the small council agrees. So Corlys says, what reason does the crab feeder have to fear us? The king's brother does what he wants without punishment. For example, he seized Dragonstone with an army of his own with no protests from the crown. So Viserys tells Corlys that he has acted and has sent out envoys to Pentos and Volantis, right? So all along, Rhaenyra is listening and she speaks up and she tells her father that he has dragon riders and he should send them. And herself was included in this. So she said, us. So the council is looking at Rhaenyra like, girl, who told you to speak, So Viserys says, it's not that simple, Rhaenyra. And Rhaenyra says, it will be a show of force. And she ain't lying, okay? And I do want to mention that when she talks like this, guys, she reminds me of her auntie Visenya, okay? Visenya was the older sister wife of Aegon the Conqueror, and she didn't take no mess, and she had a mind for war, all right? And she used her dragon to her advantage. She was playing no games. Like, we have dragons, we're using them. And that's what Rhaenyra is trying to do here. She's like, hello, what do you think we have dragons for? To rain fire and blood when things get out of hand. But anyway, Corlys was throwing a little shade and was like, well, at least the princess has a plan. But Viserys dismisses Rhaenyra and tells her that she can go with the Lord Commander to choose a new King's Guard. He also tells her that this knight will protect her as well. So Rhaenyra goes and she eventually chooses Sir Criston Cole since he's the only one who's known true combat and hasn't just been fighting for play at tourneys. So even though Otto tries to sway her decision by telling her not to be too hasty, Rhaenyra sticks with her decision because unlike her father, she actually has a backbone. And anyway, all Otto was concerned about was allies, but Rhaenyra tells him that her father should be defended by a man who knows real combat. So let's get ready to sum up a few quick points about this episode so we can move to episode number 3. So we see that Alicent is still spending time with the king, and he tells her that he's concerned about Rhaenyra because she's hardly talked to him since her mother died. I also forgot to mention that 6 months has passed since then, guys, okay? So Alicent tells the king that it's going to take some time before Rhaenyra comes around. But when she goes to talk to Rhaenyra, Rhaenyra tells her that she only wants her father to look at her as more than his little girl, all right? Next, Lord Corlys and Princess Rainys meet with the king, and Corlys apologizes for his behavior at the small council meeting. Then he suggests that the king marry his daughter, who is only 12. But Corlys says that this will show the realm that the crown's strongest days are ahead of them and not behind them, okay? The king tells him that he hasn't even thought of remarrying since his wife passed, but Rhaenys tells Viserys that you are expected to marry again and produce more heirs. So next, Viserys goes to tell Otto and the Maester about the marriage proposal. And of course, Otto tells the king that Lord Corlys has overreached and that the matter should have been discussed with the small council. So Viserys is like, that's what I'm doing. So what's your advice? So Otto just says that Laena is young. So the Maester chimes in and tells the king that, yeah, even though the girl is young, the union will seal the breach between these two great houses because there has been a few offenses made, you know. The Maester also tells Viserys that uniting two great Valyrian houses will signal unity throughout the realm. And the look on Otto's face was definitely showing us that he does not agree, okay? But he doesn't have a better argument to offer because there really isn't one. But the bottom line is that everyone agrees that the king must remarry. And even though he understands his duty, he's concerned with how Rhaenyra would feel about it. Now, before we move on, I can't forget to mention that the Maester uses maggots to help treat Viserys' rotting finger, okay? Like, what the heck is going on with Viserys' skin all the time? Like, we had the situation with his back, now we got a rotting finger going on. Like, this dude is not the healthiest, all right? Well, especially when it comes to his skin. Anyway, moving on. So then we get to the next scene where Viserys is taking a walk with little Laena, and she's asking him all these kid-like questions about dragons and stuff like that. And Viserys just seems stressed out about how young she is. And she's so cute, by the way, guys. Then we get a scene with Rhaenys and Rhaenyra, and Rhaenys asks Rhaenyra if her father remarrying bothers her. So Rhaenyra tries to throw the question back on her and says, Laena is your daughter. Does it bother you? And Rhaenys kept it real and said, of course it does, but unlike you, I know the order of things. Rhaenys then goes on to tell Rhaenyra that sooner or later your father will marry, whether it's my daughter or not, and he will produce more children. And if one of them is a boy, when your father dies, the realm will expect him to be the heir, not you. But Rhaenyra has a different plan in mind. She thinks that when she is queen, she will create a new order. But Rhaenys tells her that the Great Council denied a woman as their heir. So what you think is going to happen now, right? But Rhaenyra says, no, they denied you, Princess Rhaenys, but they bent the knee to me. And Rhaenys was like, oh, do you remind your father's men of that as you carry their cups? And I was like, yes, Rhaenys, okay? Let her know. Because even though I love Rhaenyra, Rhaenyra was being a bit too shady for me, okay? All Rhaenys was trying to do is offer Rhaenyra some wise counsel. So there was no need for her to be acting all stink and stuff, okay? But anyway, Rhaenys was like, listen, sweetheart, I'm going to tell you a hard truth that no one else has the freaking guts or heart to tell you. Men would sooner put the realm to the torch before they see a woman on the Iron Throne, okay? They will burn this city to the ground. And that was all she had to say. And she walked away, and Rhaenyra, there's nothing that she could have said, you know. Next, the king and the small council get word of more of Daemon's shenanigans on Dragonstone. Daemon invites the king to his wedding, and they also find out that Daemon took one of the dragon eggs since he claimed his wife to be was pregnant. But the king wasn't prepared to do anything about it, guys, until he found out that the egg Daemon took belonged to his baby that just died. So now Otto takes some men and they go meet with Daemon on Dragonstone. But Daemon can't stand Otto and vice versa, so this meeting was not going to end well if Rhaenyra didn't show up with her dragon and have a civilized talk with her uncle. So once Rhaenyra showed up, she told Daemon that her father chose her as his heir. I am the princess of Dragonstone, so you're living in my castle, uncle. Like, what is going on? And Daemon was like, well, you know, when you come of age, right now you're too young, so I'm holding things down for you or whatever. You know, but she also tells him that you're doing all of this, right? And you figured that you needed to steal my brother's egg, you know? And he says, well, I'm going to have a child someday. And I want to keep with tradition, which is to put an egg in the crib with the baby, you know, just like you had. Okay, but long story short, guys, Rhaenyra tells her uncle that if you want to kill me, go ahead, all right, do it. So, of course, Daemon was not about to kill his niece. Like, he loves her. You know, we already saw that they have a special bond. So he walks away from Rhaenyra and throws her back the egg. Come to find out, he was lying about the whole pregnancy thing. Wasn't about to have a baby at all. So he is just creating drama for no reason, yo. This guy is really crazy. Next, Viserys is pissed with Rhaenyra for leaving the castle without permission. But he simmers down eventually because she tells him that she retrieved the egg without bloodshed. This is something that she wasn't sure that Otto was going to be capable of doing, okay? And this makes him smile a little bit because he is reminded of how much she reminds him of her mother. All right, so anyway, guys, the subject of marriage comes up, and Rhaenyra tells her father that it's his duty to the realm to take a new wife, and that her mother would have understood this just like she understands. So in saying all of this, Rhaenyra gives her father her blessing, right, to remarry. But what she wasn't prepared for was for him to say that he was going to marry her best friend, Alicent. Like, I gave you permission to marry, but that did not mean my best friend. Like, what the heck is going on up in here? You know, I'm pretty sure she thought that he was going to marry Laena. Okay, so not only is Rhaenyra pissed off, Lord Corlys is pissed as well. Okay, so he goes to see Daemon and he talks him into being an ally. He says a few things about Viserys that were, you know, a bit offensive and stuff. And Daemon was like, hold on now. I'm the only one who could talk about my brother like that. And I like that he said that, you know. You got to create boundaries, you know what I'm saying? Like, I wreak all this havoc in hell and give my brother a problem, but that's me. Nobody else could do that, not on my watch, okay? So, but Corlys was like, all right, later for all that, we are the second sons and we got to prove our worth. So what's up? You down or not? You know? And that's how the episode ends, guys. So now we're going to go right into episode number 3, which is called Second of His Name. So in this episode, we see that about 3 years has passed and Alicent has already given Viserys an heir named Aegon. And she's pregnant again, guys, looking like she about to pop. So while they celebrate baby Aegon's second birthday, Corlys and Daemon are at war in the Stepstones with the crab feeder. And so a messenger comes to tell King Viserys that they need his help, right, in the Stepstones. But Viserys says that it's been 3 years and it could wait another 3 years, okay? Like, this is my son's birthday party. So while this messenger, whose name is Tyland, I believe, who's not like probably really a messenger, but I'm calling him that, all right? He keeps talking about the importance of the king's help at the Stepstones, right? And the king keeps asking about where the heck Rhaenyra is, okay? So Alicent goes looking for her, and she's in the Godswood reading, and she has someone playing music for her. And she's having him play the song on repeat, okay? A human CD player. And here is where we see this little battle in rank take place, okay? Because Alicent tells the guy to leave, and Rhaenyra says, you are to stay here by order of your princess. And Alicent was like, your queen commands you to leave at once. So the dude leaves, and Alicent tells Rhaenyra that her father wants her to join them on the hunt. You know, he wants us to be together as a family and all that stuff. And Rhaenyra was like, no, I'm good. I planned on staying here and reading, but if the king commands it, then I'll go. So she winds up going, right? And, you know, Alicent was like, you know, it doesn't have to be this way and all that stuff. But it's like, okay, you're saying it doesn't have to be this way, but you just tried to pull rank, right? And it's not even tried to pull rank. You just pulled rank. Like, you know, I'm not feeling y'all. And I told this dude to stay here and finish playing music. And you told him to leave and you pulled rank. So how is that going to make anything better? Like, you're adding insult to injury. Anyway, so during the ride there, Rhaenyra has a serious attitude and she doesn't want to talk to her father or Alicent. He tells her that she has certain duties and she lets him know that she is ceaselessly reminded of this, right? But more importantly, she lets him know that there's no one here for me, okay? And the king had nothing to say about that, okay? But it's clear that she has not been talking to him for the past few years. Like, he made mention that You've been alone and by yourself and angry for the past few years. And it should be obvious why, you know what I mean? Ever since you married Allison, your daughter has been having this whole attitude, okay? And we're going to get to the reason, because she does explain why she's been feeling some type of way and why that attitude has not wavered at all. Okay, so to make matters worse, guys, Lord Jason Lannister decides to make a proposal of marriage to Rhaenyra, and she gets pissed about it and goes to confront her father about it. He tells her that she must marry because she has now come of age, and they basically start arguing in front of everyone, but they are interrupted by Lord Otto, who tells the king that the royal huntsman has sent a report of a white hart, which is a white stag that symbolizes royalty. And Otto, of course, has to remind Viserys that it's no coincidence that the white hart was spotted on little Prince Aegon's name day celebration. So this makes King Viserys think that he may have made a mistake in naming Rhaenyra his heir because the white hart has been spotted. But I love that when they finally caught up with the stag, it was a very big but brown one, okay? And clearly not white hart. But white hart did appear to Rhaenyra and Sir Criston Cole. And this is because after her father told her that she had to get married, Rhaenyra ran off, and Criston Cole, who is sworn to protect her, he had to run after her. So they were out in the woods together all day and night, and during the night, a boar comes out and attacks them. First, he goes after Criston and knocks him on his freaking behind, then heads over to Rhaenyra. So Criston gets up and he stabs the boar, but the boar was still alive. So Rhaenyra stabs him up, and she was clearly taking out her frustration on him, okay? Like, she was just poking holes all over the place. And this whole situation with the boar might have been a little Easter egg or, nod to Game of Thrones, because we have the fact that Robert Baratheon went on a hunting trip and was killed by a boar, right? And in this situation, we get Rhaenyra attacked by a boar as well, but she escaped with her life. In both cases, the boar is killed and brought back to be feasted on. All right. But anyway, guys, it's daylight now, and they're on their way back to the camp, and that's when they see the white hart stag. And this is a clear sign that Rhaenyra was the true heir, no matter what anybody had to say. Okay. So Rhaenyra stops Criston from killing White Hart, and they move right along. And I love how Rhaenyra comes back to the camp covered in blood with the dead boar being pulled behind her. Like, it definitely earned her some respect among some of the men that she walked past, because they was looking at her like she is no ordinary princess, honey. She is gangster. She ain't about to just sit around and, chop it up with the rest of these hens. She's out here, okay? So I also have to mention that throughout this episode, the men of the realm just kept bothering Viserys about who Rhaenyra should marry and what he should do and blah, 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 right? Lord Otto even suggested that Rhaenyra should marry her little brother, which was very ridiculous. Even though the Targaryens were into incest, Rhaenyra would have to wait a long time before Prince Aegon was old enough to get married. And by that time, who knows what Lord Otto would have planned? He probably would have planned Rhaenyra to be killed by then. Okay. But anyway, Viserys, he was really annoyed by this. Like, can we stop talking about all this effing politicking? Like, I came here to enjoy myself on a hunt. Like, I'm celebrating. Like, leave me alone. Anyway, guys, so after Lord Strong, who always seems to have good advice for the king, after he tells Viserys that he thinks Rhaenyra should marry Laenor Velaryon, for the exact same reasons he told the king that he should marry Laena, Viserys, he doesn't say anything, because at this point, the king is so tired of talking about politics, like I said, okay? Okay, so we're going to move around a little bit, and we're going to talk about the messenger that Viserys sent to Daemon and Corlys, okay? Okay, this message let them know that the king is sending some help. This all came about because Corlys' brother Vaemon sent a letter asking for aid, okay, because they were losing in the Stepstones. Queen Alicent sees the letter, and she tells Viserys that he should act, go help. Be a caring brother, but Viserys is like, why should I help two malcontents who started a war all because they were unhappy with the way I run things? So Alicent talks him into it by posing a simple question, which she said, is it better for the realm if the crab feeder thrives or is vanquished, okay? And that's when Viserys sends the messenger, all right? And unfortunately, Daemon decides to beat the crap out of the messenger, and the men had to pull him off the guy before he killed him, which was so ridiculous, okay? Now, instead of accepting his brother's help, he goes to confront the crab feeder, but instead he's waving the white flag, and of course this was all a ploy. And as soon as one of the crab feeder's men got close to Daemon, he killed him, okay? Then he started taking out a whole bunch of men all by himself, okay? So the crab feeder, he keeps looking in the sky as if he's waiting for Caraxes to appear, but there's no sign of him. So Daemon continues to fight. They got arrows flying down on him and everything. He gets shot a few times, but he keeps on going, right? But it's starting to look bad for him, okay? And the men are closing in on him. But then Corlys and the rest of his men come to the rescue. And then we get Laenor coming through with his dragon, and he's just lighting it up, okay? I do want to mention real quick, guys, that I like how Laenor's dragon, I think the name is Sea Smoke, I like how Sea Smoke looks healthier than Caraxes. Like, I don't like that Caraxes has this skinny body, It reminds me of like a snake with legs and wings. It's just really weird looking. But anyway, back to the fighting at the Stepstones. So Daemon goes into the cave, and when he comes back out, he's carrying the crab feeder's body, well, at least half of it, all right? And his intestines are hanging out as well, okay? Now, one thing is for sure, Daemon was determined to ensure that he defeated the crab feeder by himself, or at least died trying, okay? Because he didn't want help from his brother just so the victory could be his, credited to Viserys. He wasn't trying to have that. No, he wanted to make his worth, just like Corlys told him he had to in episode 2, like as second sons, we got to make our worth, So this is how the episode ends, guys. But, the crab feeder, his skin was looking all jacked up, like he had grayscale and stuff like that. So I hope Viserys was very careful. But did he have grayscale for real, though? Because when we first see him 3 years ago, we saw his face was all jacked up already, right? And when we get a closer look, it looks like grayscale. But it's like, how come after 3 years, his body is not covered in it? Because if we think about how the grayscale was really spreading rather quickly on Jorah Mormont in Game of Thrones, it wasn't that long. You know what I'm saying? And even if they were to say that it would probably a year passed by, this is 3 years that the crab feeder has been around, and his grayscale doesn't look like it's all over. It looks very patchy. Like, grayscale kind of connects, you know what I'm saying? Like he got like patches of grayscale on him. So I really don't know what the heck is going on. And maybe he was pulling it off every now and then, which is the reason why his skin was looking all raw. Maybe he was pulling it off. So yeah, he was probably stopping the growth some way, somehow. Got a little insight to what Sam was doing for Jorah. But anyway, guys, so like I said, that's how the episode ended. And I also want to mention that Viserys and Rhaenyra had a talk, and she let him know how she felt, right? She felt like Viserys was going to marry her off so that Aegon could replace her. And Viserys tells her that she must get married before he dies. Like, he wants to see her happy and contented and all of that. So Rhaenyra reminds him that if he wanted to marry for advantage, he would have married Lena Valerion, but he chose out of desire, basically, So by bringing this up, Rhaenyra is telling her father that she should be able to choose just like he was able to. So then he tells Rhaenyra that she can choose her own match and to find one that pleases her. This definitely makes her smile a little, Then she gets up to leave, but her father stops her and tells her that he did have a second thought at one point when it came to naming her his heir, but now he promises on her mother's memory that she will not be supplanted, okay? Ain't nobody gonna take your place. You are the heir, and I'm sticking to that. All right. But anyway, guys, that's the video for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell so you know when I upload more videos like this one. Until next time, you guys take care and be blessed, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.